Hello, my name is Heather Townsend and I am the author of the Financial Times Guide to Business Networking. This is the start of a 5-part series dedicated to the needs of job seekers when networking. Whenever I talk to most people, they think of networking as BD, i.e. business development, and actually most of them forget that networking is more than just about generating business. Networking is probably the most effective way of finding your next role, assignment or job opportunity. And I'm going to tell you 4 short stories of how people I know or I've personally helped have found success with their networking to find their next job. So the first story is actually about me. When I was made redundant 2 years ago, the first person I turned to was someone in my network to ask about career coaching and what you needed to do to pick up work as a career coach. That phone call and subsequent meeting developed into a longer chat, and before I knew it, I was working for one of his clients, no CV involved, it was just taken on trust, he knew what I could do, and I was had my first client. The next story is about somebody I met recently when I was delivering a presentation for 80 senior accountants on networking effectively. And there was a guy in the room called Girish. Now Girish had been looking for a job for about the last 4 or 5 months after his company had gone bust. He was a great chap and I wanted to do as much as I could to help him, so I introduced him to a very, very good contact of mine who I knew was very well connected. I received an email yesterday to hear that Girish had followed up my introduction, had a phone call and was waiting on a second interview with a company that he'd been introduced to. You see, it really is that simple. My third example is someone who was, once again, fairly senior, IT manager, ran a couple of offices in terms of the infrastructure, and his company was restructuring. And he knew that, but they brought the timescales forward 2 years ahead of plan. So suddenly he knew that he had to find a job in 2 months, as he would be out of a job. So he got on to his LinkedIn contacts, he started phoning around the friends, and you know what? 5 weeks later, he was being interviewed for a contract position before it was advertised through a friend of his. And he got the job. 3 months later, they offered it to him as permanent. And finally, this is an example about a stay-at-home mum who's a good friend of mine. I knew that she wanted to start picking up work whilst her son was at school, and she'd been out of the workplace. I happened to see something on a Yahoo group that I'm a member of, and I passed the details on to her. And she dropped me a text yesterday, and she said, "Thank you for the introduction. I've now picked up some work through that." So hopefully I've proved to you that using your network is one of the most effective ways of finding your next job. My name is Heather Townsend and I am the author of the Financial Times Guide to Business Networking.